For the Portland Trailblazers, it looks to be another tough year. Last year they finished 28-38, which was good for 4th place in the Northwest Division. They were chasing a playoff spot before they inexplicably decided to tank the rest of the season. They traded away some veterans and basically gave up. This year they got a rookie point guard in Damian Lillard who's going to be starting from day one. He showed in the Summer League that he can score the ball. Now, can he do that against NBA guys on a night-to-night basis? That remains to be seen. But he will still start at point guard. At shooting guard, Wesley Matthews, a solid scorer, a guy that can put up 15 points a night for you. At small forward, Nicholas Batum, they matched the offer sheet that the Timberwolves signed with Batum. A lot of people feel like they overpaid for him, myself included, but Batum will throw a nut punch here or there, and okay, low blow, 2 low blows. Hey, at power forward, you've got LaMarcus Aldridge. He's a stud through and through. 22 points per game, 8-9 rebounds, a block shot. He's a guy that you can go to and be a franchise guy. He can beat you from the outside. He's got a good post game. He is their star. Hopefully he's back healthy from the hip surgery they had in the offseason. At center, it's a mixed bag. Apparently J.J. Hickson's going to get the start, even though they've got Joel Freeland and Myers Leonard, who are probably going to be better suited as centers later on in their careers. At backups, you've got Ronnie Price playing point guard, Sasha Pavlovich coming in at shooting guard, Victor Claver at small forward, J.J. Hickson, if he doesn't start, he'll back up at the power forward, and then Myers Leonard, if he doesn't start, he'll back up at the center position. You can see that this team is not very deep. You've got a decent starting core, but after that, it just falls off. They're going to have to do some work in the summer of 2013 to improve this team, and if they get lucky and Damian Lillard plays the way he did during the Summer League, they'll be well on their way back to the playoffs. I've got them finishing 5th in the Northwest Division with a terrible record of 20-62. They're not making the playoffs this year, but next year they could be back. The Utah Jazz are a franchise in transition right now. Their 2 main guys, Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson, are in contract years. Now, if they start hot, I could see the Utah Jazz hanging on to them until the offseason and then perhaps working out a sign and trade or even re-signing them. But if they fall out of the race, don't be surprised to see them trade both of them. Last year, they finished 36-30, which was good for 3rd place in the Northwest Division and 8th in the Western Conference. They did get thrashed by the San Antonio Spurs in 4 straight. This year, they brought in a couple of guys, one on a 1-year deal and Mo Williams. He'll provide some veteran leadership. He'll take big shots, but he's not in the long-term plans. At shooting guard, you've got Gordon Hayward. Now, this is a guy who's in the long-term plans. They're going to build around him. He improved by leaps and bounds, and he's going to continue to do that. I don't see him as a guy who's going to score 25 points a game, but to say that he could get around 20 points a game, that's totally possible. At small forward, they brought in Marvin Williams. It's funny calling Marvin Williams a seasoned veteran because he's only 27 years old, but he's been around and he's produced solid quality minutes over his entire career. At power forward, you've got Paul Millsap. In his contract year, as I said, he's going to produce. At center, Al Jefferson. He's in the same boat as Millsap. This team finished 3rd in the NBA in offensive rebounding last year because of Millsap and Jefferson. That bulk down low is huge, especially against big teams like the Los Angeles Lakers. They're going to need that if they expect to get through them in the playoffs. The backups are a decent squad. You've got Jamal Tinsley at point guard. He's a veteran guy. He's not going to give you a whole lot of production, but he's also not going to hurt you. At shooting guard, you got Randy Foye. He came over from the Los Angeles Clippers, and if there's one thing he showed, he's not afraid to fire. Put him and Mo Williams out there together, and it's going to rain. Small forward, you've got DeMar Carroll. He's okay. There's not much that you can say about him at this point in his career, but he'll produce enough for a bench guy. At power forward, Derek Favors. Now, here's a guy who's ready to come in and start. He's anticipating either Millsap or Jefferson moving so that he can slide into the starting lineup. This is something that the Jazz really need to look at. They have kind of an embarrassment of riches at power forward. They should turn one of these guys into some quality assets moving forward, whether it's picks or a young player. At center, they got Enes Kanter coming in. Solid, big, bulking body. Continues the theme of an offensive rebounding machine. For the Utah Jazz, I got them finishing 43-39 this year, 4th in the Northwest Division, and narrowly missing out on the playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves were well on their way to the playoffs last year before Ricky Rubio went down with his ACL injury. They had battled back to 500, and they were slated to be the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Now, what's surprising is when Rubio went out, it wasn't the offense that suffered, it was the defense. He actually improved them because with his long arms and his ability to get into the passing lane, he was creating a lot of turnovers for his team, which was huge. Kevin Love and company couldn't make up for that when he went away, and they bombed. They ended up 26-40, dead last in the Northwest Division. This year, they brought in a couple of veterans to try to help out Kevin Love and company. Ricky Rubio will be coming back from his ACL injury a couple of months into the season. He'll be the starting point guard when he gets back. At shooting guard, they brought in Brandon Roy, a guy that they're trying to resurrect his career, hope that his knees hold up. Small forward, Andrei Kirilenko, guy that used to be able to do everything well, but he's a little bit older now. He's going to slow down, but I still would be surprised if he didn't provide a block and a steal per game, maybe 10 points, 6 or 7 rebounds. At power forward, of course, Kevin Love, a guy who's going to be back on the MVP campaign again. He's going to have another tremendous season. His rebounding numbers will probably go down again because of the center, Nikola Pekovic. He's a stud. He's a guy that's going to get a new contract after this year, and his offensive rebounding numbers are top 5 in the NBA. That might surprise you. For the bench, backup at point guard, Luke Ridnour and J.J. Barea. 2 guys that can come in, and they're solid. They can do the job. At shooting guard, Alexei Shved, a Russian that comes over. He's okay. He's got a good three-point range, but aside from that, he's going to struggle to adapt to the NBA game at first. Small forward, they traded their first-round pick for Chase Budinger, another guy to spread the floor, shoot some threes. Not a whole lot else. At power forward, Derek Williams, the number 2 pick from a year ago. They are expecting him to blossom, and they need him to blossom. He could be the 6th man for this team, and if he can slide over and play some small forward as well, he could get big minutes. Backup at center is Greg Stiemsma. They picked him up from the Boston Celtics for defensive purposes. This team addressed the issues that they had last year. Hopefully they can get healthy and stay healthy. I've got them finishing 3rd in the Northwest Division at 44-38. They're going to sneak into the playoffs as the 8th seed. Unfortunately, they're going to run headlong into the Los Angeles Lakers and bow out in 5 games. The Denver Nuggets are coming off a solid 2011-2012 season where they finished 2nd in the Northwest Division and ended up losing in 7 games in the playoffs to the Los Angeles Lakers. This year, they've made a couple of changes. They brought in Andre Iguodala to replace Aaron Aflalo at the shooting guard position to provide more defense. Now, defense and Denver haven't really gone together in recent years, but it's a little misleading. They were 29th in the NBA in giving up points per game. However, they were 20th in defensive rating. So a big reason that they gave up so many points is their pace. They're led by point guard Ty Lawson, who gets up and down the court faster than anyone not named John Wall. At shooting guard, Iguodala will step in. He'll fit the bill. Small forward is Danilo Gallinari, a guy with a very unique skill set. He's a 6'10 guy, looks like a forward, plays like a guard. It's good and bad. Power forward, Kenneth Faried, the Manimal, a guy who's going to give you a non-stop motor. He's an energy guy, hustle, rebounding, defense. And at center, JaVale McGee. He's had his basketball IQ questioned, but under George Karl, he is going to flourish. Last year, you could see signs of it, especially in his surprising offensive game against the Los Angeles Lakers. Maybe with some work, he could turn into an elite center. The backups are solid as well here. This is a very deep team. At point guard, you've got Andre Miller. Shooting guard, Corey Brewer's going to slide in. Small forward, a returning healthy Wilson Chandler. He could probably start for most teams in the league. Power forward, Anthony Randolph. And at center, Costa Kofos. He is a Greek center that played at Ohio State. Good on defense, not going to give you a whole lot on the offensive end, but he's a valuable substitute for this team. Overall, I see them winning 50 games this year, getting to the Western Conference semifinals, again against the Los Angeles Lakers, where they will lose in 6 games. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, they've got to be happy with how the 2011-2012 season went. They finished 1st in the Northwest Division, got through the Western Conference playoffs, beating the Lakers and the Spurs, ending their 20-game win streak, getting into the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat. It did end in heartbreak, and watching Kevin Durant cry in the arms of his mother after that Game 5 defeat really opened my eyes. It showed me how much Durant cares about the team and about winning. He doesn't care about winning an MVP trophy or winning the scoring title. He just wants to win. He's going to use that pain as fuel this year, just like LeBron James did 2 years ago when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks. He came out and had a colossal MVP season, ran the table, and won the NBA championship. The Thunder returned the same lineup they had last year. They've still got Durant, an MVP guy, probably going to win another scoring title, one of the most difficult to defend in the NBA. Russell Westbrook, one of the most angry, aggressive, exciting, electric point guards in the entire league. James Harden, he's always a sixth man of the year candidate. And although he had a really poor finals, he's in a contract year. He's going to come out at 100% and he's going to produce this year. Serge Ibaka at power forward, he's a guy who's going to rebound and block shots. Not going to give you a whole lot on the offensive end, but he changes the game on the defensive end. He's a guy that even if he doesn't block the shot, he's going to alter it and he's going to change how you play the game. That's a big deal. Kendrick Perkins at center, he's coming off wrist surgery, and last year during the playoffs, he was lumbering a bit. He didn't look like himself. He definitely didn't look like the guy who played for the Boston Celtics and won an NBA championship. Their bench is okay. They're going to get Eric Maynor back, which is a big deal. He's the antithesis to Russell Westbrook. He's a guy that can come in and be a pure point guard. That's important, but not that important. We've seen how Westbrook and Durant can coexist, and it's really not that big of a deal. I see the Thunder going 57-25, first place in the Northwest Division again. They're going to get to the Western Conference Finals where they're going to face the Los Angeles Lakers and Dwight Howard. They're not going to get past them. I've got the Lakers winning in 7 and the Thunder going home again.